what is the best diet for everybody? This is a terrible question. You know why? Because there is no best diet for everybody. Your diet that's optimal for you right now is probably not going to look like my ideal diet right now. In fact, my ideal diet right now is not going to look like my ideal diet if I were training for a marathon, which I will hopefully never do because I want to live a long and happy life without joint pain. The best diet for me right now is not the best diet for me 5 years from now. Right? Your diet depends on context. The best diet in the world is not a ketogenic diet. The best diet in the world is not a vegan diet. It's not a low carb diet. It's not an intermittent fasting high carb diet. The best diet for you, the best diet for me, is a diet that we can maintain long term, that we can enjoy long term, a diet that we can have long term adherence with. A diet that doesn't leave me farting all day, shitting 10 times a day, having to prepare meals for several hours per day, worrying about what I'm eating constantly. To me, that's what's ideal. And that's why I do keto. Because I can eat the fatty, salty, delicious foods that I love regularly. I can wake up in the morning and have pork belly and steak and eggs for breakfast every day. And it leaves me satiated. It gives me steady energy throughout the day. I don't have crashes midday like I used to my entire life. I'm not, riding that blood sugar roller coaster all day. And I'm able to live my life. That's why I choose a ketogenic diet. It allows me to stay lean, to maintain, and even if I want to, gain lean muscle mass. But it gives me the time, the energy, and the freedom of thought that I desire. Because I'm not thinking all day about my food. Right? It's not about creating this impossible pie in the sky, low carb for me, pie in the sky, diet that's nearly impossible to adhere to but looks perfect on paper. It's about what can you do right now. It's about what can I do that's better than what I've been doing. Alright, so we've all got imperfections, we've all got flaws, we've all got weaknesses. And in diet, a lot of our weaknesses tend to be focused around very, very energy dense, calorie dense, high fat and high sugar foods. Right? When you combine high fat with high carb at the same time, you get issues. Now, higher carb with lower fat or higher fat with lower carb doesn't bring about the same metabolic issues for most people. Now, a ketogenic diet is a way that I can regulate my blood sugar, regulate my brain chemistry also, because it favors a state of GABA production rather than glutamate production. GABA being a very inhibitory neurotransmitter. It's very soothing. Glutamate, very excitatory. Frizzle frying your brain cells out. So for me, a ketogenic diet has been something that's been incredibly helpful for changing and maintaining body composition, especially after coming from a nutrient-depleted vegan diet, right? Where I was getting insufficient protein, insufficient fats. Maybe actually not even insufficient fats, but the wrong types of fats, right? I was afraid of the animal foods. I thought they were bad for me. Now I find myself eating a diet primarily based on animal foods. Right? My wife, she actually wrote our book, the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, after we came out of this long-term vegan phase. We had health issues. Our daughter's teeth were rotting out. She was getting dental caries. Check out the puppy here. Got the Eat Meat Make Family shirt. But we came out of that vegan diet and we didn't even really know how to prepare meats. It took us years to get comfortable preparing higher fat foods. And of course it took time to adapt. So the reason we put together this book, the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low carb, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine, was to give you guys the tools. We basically made it the book that we would have wanted when we first started eating low carb, when we first started eating a high fat diet. So Jessica spent over 1.5 years making this book, and it essentially lays out the foundations of how to prepare nutrient-dense, whole, unrefined keto foods. No Quest shit, no peanut butter, aspartame, microwave, fat bombs in a cup. None of that nonsense. Nutrient-dense, whole, unrefined foods. There's even an entire section showing you how to prepare organs and organ meats. The most nutrient-dense parts of the animal that are so often neglected. So ketogenic diet's something for us that's been a powerful tool. It's not about what's the best diet in the world. Everybody should eat this diet, or everybody shouldn't eat this diet. This diet's great, this diet's bad. It's about what works for you. It's about what can you sustain long term. And if you want to sustain your diet long term, if you want to enjoy a diet long term, you've got to learn how to make nutrient-dense foods on your own. You've got to know how to order out at a restaurant. I know whenever I go to a restaurant, if I'm going out with friends, I can always order a steak. If I'm having breakfast, I can always get an omelet. And I can always just get a burger without a bun at some low-quality place, although I prefer not to. Look at your ribeye. He went from 4 pounds to 22 pounds in like 5 weeks. What's up? What's up, psycho? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? He's a good dog. So yeah. What's the best diet for me? It's not going to look exactly like the best diet for you. But what I have found is that a lot of people can benefit from a low carbohydrate approach, a ketogenic approach. Some people even benefiting greatly from a carnivorous approach, where you're removing all the fibrous plants. Right? I mean, I always thought that plants were necessary. This is something I've had to augment and admit that I was wrong about. Because I tend to feel better on a diet that's very, very low in plants. But that's beside the point. My diet that's ideal for me isn't going to look like the diet that's ideal for you. And that's why in our Keto and Carnivore Collective, which we do every month or every other month, we're actually doing it 2 in a row this month. The next one actually starts on Sunday. But it's our community coaching where we show you how to create a solid foundation of high-fat, ketogenic nutrition. Whether that be straight keto or a carnivorous style approach. We've actually had quite a few people more interested in carnivory lately. At least, I'd say at least 10% of the last group in our Keto Collective ended up on a more carnivorous style keto diet, which is really interesting. Now these mostly, a lot of these are people who are dealing with autoimmune conditions, major weight, stalls and whatnot. And a carnivorous style approach can be helpful in some of these situations where you have leaky gut, where you've got gut permeability issues, where you might have sensitivity to oxalates and salicylates and stuff like that. But it's still simple. It's still about getting sufficient protein, fat being your energy source, and keeping the carbs low. So one of the things that we found with coaching so many people is that a lot of people end up thriving long term on a ketogenic low carb diet if they're able to form a solid foundation of habits. Right? It's not about, oh, well, I gotta buy a bunch of Quest bars and buy this product and that product. No, it's about creating solid foundational habits to replace the old habits, like when you wake up in the morning and you used to have a Pop-Tart. Instead, having some bacon and eggs. Simple like that. Or if you want to be even more optimal, having a little bit of liver, or maybe some eggs and a steak, right? Getting the ruminant animals. Having fish, seafood regularly. Simple, whole, unrefined keto meals. That's what it's all about. So don't get caught up in the mire of worrying about this detail, that detail. How do I do this perfectly? What's the perfect diet for me? Quit diet hopping and diet shopping. Pick something and stick with it. If you think keto might work for you, which I found that at least 80% of the population responds very, very well to a ketogenic approach. If you think keto might work for you, give it a try. But it can't just be a 1-week shot. Remember, it takes weeks to adapt to a ketogenic diet. It takes weeks to generate the new mitochondria to burn the fat, and you have to train your body to actually use fat as a fuel source. In the beginning, it might be difficult, but it's well worth that initial discomfort phase when you're adapting to the diet. So anyways, check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, the training manual for low carb, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. We call it a training manual because it's not just a list of friggin' recipes. It's not just a list of, you know, peanut butter Quest cake, ice cream bars. There's real unrefined, nutrient-dense foods. Whole section on how to make organ meats, teach you how to prepare liver, how to make your own tallow, how to make cracklings. These easy to make, quickly made, delicious, high-fat recipes that can be very, very affordable as well. Alright, so we're all about whole, unrefined, nutrient-dense foods. And that's what the book's about. It's about training you and equipping you with the tools you need to succeed long-term in your food prep in the kitchen. Also, we're starting the Keto and Carnivore Collective this Sunday. If you're interested in that, we actually just dropped the price because we realized we're probably able to handle more people per group than we've been allowing in, and we want to make it more accessible to everybody. All right, so it's a way that we can do coaching where you get more one-on-one time than when we just do private consultations via Skype. You're able to get more time with us, more question and answer sessions. We do at least 2 live voice sessions per week. We have a live Discord server that we use where everybody is able to support each other. You have the community-based aspect, which is really, really helpful for people. But sometimes we're changing our diet, we're changing our lifestyle, and we don't really have a social circle that's interested in the same thing, right? Friends and family, mom, dad, brother, sister, might not give a shit about your little low-carb diet. All right, so it's nice to have other people to talk to bounce ideas off of, to share your triumphs, your successes, and your shortcomings with, and to encourage each other. So check out the Keto and Carnivore Collective. We're starting that this Sunday. It's a month long, and we just dropped the price to make it more affordable for everybody, so there's a link down below in the description. You could sign up now. But remember, it's really not that complicated. You get sufficient protein in. Usually recommend about 1.5 up to 2.2 grams per kilogram of either your lean body mass, or you could even use your ideal body weight. Then, fat is your energy source. When you're first starting out, you want more fat. You don't want to force your body to burn a bunch of body fat when you're first getting adapted to keto, because it can be a little stressful. So eat more fat at the beginning, usually about 1 to 1.5 at least grams of fat per gram of protein. Some people will want more if you're not looking to lose weight long term. But fat's the energy source, and you adjust that fat according to your goals. You want to drop more body fat, you're going to be consuming less dietary fat. If you want to gain weight, gain muscle, you're going to want to consume more caloric intake, meaning more fat and perhaps more calories from protein. Now, carbohydrates are a tool that you can use selectively, but on a ketogenic diet, especially for beginners, forget about the carbs. Drop the carbs if you want to eat the leafy green vegetables, stuff like spinach, very, very low glycemic, fibrous greens, stuff like cucumber and stuff can be fine for a lot of people. But the carbs are to be kept low. Fat's the energy source, and protein is a goal macro. Many people are under-eating protein. That's one of the common themes that we see in the Keto Collective, is people under-eating on the protein. So anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Quit worrying about what the perfect diet is, and find what works for you, and stick with it and create that solid foundation of nutritional habits. Remember, you're way more than what you eat. So get off the social media, get off the freaking Facebook, the Twitter, all that shit. Go live your lives.